Good day, good day. I want to thank any and everybody who's been trying to help me behind the scenes. Me, my community, that also includes my family. Um, so as everybody is already aware, like I've really been trying to stay out of anything that's dramatic. I've been trying to keep a low profile, even though every now and then drama somehow finds its way to me. Like this is just one example. Like right before I was scheduled to have my surgery, and this is also making me wonder, like, was I even supposed to wake up, or was I supposed to leave the hospital alive? Certain people who I had already been following online for a while now, and I didn't know them personally, obviously, but I was just a fan of their platform. Seeing them do a lot of family oriented things. That got kind of interesting because they all of a sudden posted an individual who's like basically adversarial or has been adversarial towards me and my family basically. And I have a theory about different people being part of my target, and including certain public figures. But it's just like it's hard to read the signs right now. Even certain people from the church, it's like I don't know. People are. I'm getting a different energy from people. Like some don't even really want to talk right now, and that's just one thing. Um, my stay at the hospital, I didn't really get too detailed about it because it's kind of stressful to even talk about, to think about. But it was interesting. Certain people did not want me there. Certain people are not thrilled or excited that I had these surgeries. Um, they just really didn't want me there. First of all, um, the day of, which was the 30th, I got there kind of early. I was supposed to be there, I think 12:30. So I signed in. I checked my bags. They called me to the back kind of early. Um, I stripped down, did as instructed, and they didn't bring me to the OR until like 2:50. What I thought was interesting, and this is why I feel like perhaps it wasn't like really planned for me to make it out alive, or maybe I'm blessed or lucky to still be breathing. Before you have any like surgery, right? If you've had surgeries, you understand what I'm saying. You see everybody that's going to work on you, that's going to be a part of your surgical team. And I had two, because I had two surgeries. One was gynecological and one was gastric. So I see all the doctors. I see their anesthesiologists. I see their attendings. I see the nurses. And they look a certain way. However, when I wake up, I got different people coming into my room. Not even. Let me rewind a little bit. When I first woke up, as soon as I opened my eyes, I feel like lightning is hitting my heart. And it didn't feel natural. And at one point, my blood pressure went up to 144 over 83. And it didn't seem like it was any urgency for them to hurry up and bring it down. So I wake up, I start crying. I'm like, why does it feel like I'm getting hit with something cruel and unusual? It's jacking my blood pressure up. They gave me something, I can't remember the name of the drugs to help me bring my pressure down. But then it was a big deal about confiscating all my pills in the event that I try to, save my own life or whatever I had. And they really, really thoroughly made me go through everything to give up all my pills, which made me look at it suspect, like, why you can't just believe that I'm giving you everything that I have? But even more, weirder. Going back to what I said about all the faces that I saw before the surgery, I'm seeing people talking about, yeah, I worked with your anesthesiologist, or I was the anesthesiologist. I'm just trying to see how you're doing. And it's just like, a lot of the hospitals know that I don't trust too many people from certain demographics, put it that way. So if it, like, listen, I'm gonna just cut to the chase. Before I changed all my doctors, to my knowledge and understanding, they were Black American. I don't know if they were a combination of foundational Black American and Caribbean, or maybe if they was Caribbean Black and American raised, but you could tell they grew up in the United States, right? I just felt like after a while, I was I was being a guinea pig, and people was just watching how my body was just deteriorating. So it's certain demographics I avoid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got kind of excited when I seen that Dr. Laura Melman had a gastric surgeon that was an Asian man. For some reason, at most hospitals, I have a lot of positive interactions with Asian men. I do. Um, some people might be white, they might be cool, they might be professional. Yeah, but it was a point where, because I am a former activist, I mostly wanted Black doctors. But the last few years have shown me I really gotta pray before I change my doctors. And, well, let's just say that I haven't been really excited or thrilled to see too many black faces. So you have to imagine, like, because of my experience the past few years and what I believe has been a lot of major neglect that has allowed my conditions to get as bad, all right, as they got, which ultimately played a role in me needing surgery the other day. I wake up, I'm seeing certain Black dudes that are telling me they was part of my surgical team or whatever, but I did not see them before they put me under the anesthesia. So that made me real uncomfortable. And then something else weird that I didn't record. I started to record when they brought me upstairs, because they started around 2:50 prepping me for surgery. They didn't bring me upstairs till like what, 6:55, 7 o'clock at night. I was in a regular stretcher bed. I had to ask for a motorized medical bed. They gave it to me, and they put me directly across the hall. I forget the name, the number of my room. Excuse me, not the name, the number. But across from me, it said 33. That was kind of weird. I am a conspiracy theorist, and maybe that's also what got me in trouble. And certain people be acting paranoid and don't want to really talk or whatever, whatever. I'm a conspiracy theorist, all right. But I gotta remember to be careful about certain things, because I don't want to spook people that might really, be in my corner and want to see me do better and be trying to help me behind the scenes. But I question a lot of things. Like, wait a minute, I'm seeing people, and some of them look to be men of African descent who I did not see before I went under the anesthesia. I seen all the faces that was part of my surgical teams. So the other guy, Dr. Yu, I didn't see him or whatever. I was very happy to see him, contrary to popular beliefs, even though he was a dude of Asian descent. Most of my best interactions and experiences have been with men of Asian background, of origin. So I don't really get too nervous when I see them. And this is not to say that none of them could be prejudiced or anything like that, because I'm pretty sure that some of them can be. Maybe I've been, lucky or whatever. And maybe every once in a while I might get lucky with a black woman um who does not hate me, and she might be a doctor or a nurse. But if I'm gonna be honest with you, for other people, you know what I'm saying? I've had even a couple, uh, women who happen to be white, who were medical professionals, who were very, very helpful towards me. But generally speaking, outside of the demographics that I just mentioned, I don't really break my neck to be around them. I have to be careful now, because when you just keep getting a certain type of messed up experience with the same demographic of similar sex or ethnicity, it's something funny going on. And it's not to say that every woman of a certain demographic could be problematic, or every man who happens to be the same color of you might be problematic and even dangerous. No, it's just that you can't take that risk. Because so far, the majority of him, you have really, really bad, nasty, painful experiences with, to the point where now you're paranoid whenever you see them. So again, as you can imagine, it was a little bit nerve wracking. I wake up out of surgery, I'm in pain, a little pain, my blood pressure shooting through the roof, and I got certain dudes smiling in my face, telling me they was a part of my surgical team that I didn't see before they put me under the anesthesia. And as you can see in the video, well, to be fair, my bariatric doctor did come and speak to me, which I appreciated very briefly. But the other surgeon didn't come. Somebody else on her behalf, allegedly on her behalf, who also works with her, came and talked to me briefly. And I was a little disappointed because what I was told was going to happen didn't exactly happen the way I was told it was going to happen. I was told that everything that started growing on my ovaries and my pelvic region that didn't belong there was going to get removed. I wake up, they trying to rush me out. I had to convince them to let me stay a couple hours so my family could have time to wake up and then come there. My family had to catch a bus and a train all the way from Newark to New Brunswick. I had to convince them to let me stay because they were trying to get me out at almost 9 o'clock in the morning, when I was just barely able to move. It was so much going wrong. But for certain social media influencers to start acting funny towards me right before my surgery, and then even tagging a famous person that don't like me, don't like my family, and who I feel like might even potentially be dangerous. It was just weird. The whole thing is just weird. And even certain people from my church just acting funny all of a sudden. I don't know what I did wrong. I went and got surgeries, and I needed these surgeries for health reasons. I really needed these surgeries. Not to mention, I've been trying to help my dude get back on his feet. We be, people want folks to pay dues. They're not going to directly come out and say it or whatever. But every now and then they will sabotage. They sabotage our finances. What I was getting from him, that was a lot of excess. We're no longer getting that. Everything is becoming more expensive. PSC&G bill going up through the roof. Everything going up through the roof. But you got to imagine, if you've been down 2 incomes for 60 days, about 60 days, it's probably a lot of stuff you need. It's probably a lot of toiletries you need. You probably got to spend money or whatever to do laundry. If you probably got a lot of dirty clothes you got to wash. You got a lot of toiletries you got to spend money on. Even if you getting stamps, and let's just say you ran out because you know what I'm saying? You got to buy food. In the time that you weren't able to get money, or you've been down 2 incomes, You falling behind on your credit card payments. You probably was borrowing money from a couple people. You got to pay them. You don't want to have them waiting too long. You got to pay your buy now, pay later, which is basically like, it's like a credit card. Let's keep it real. It's like a digital credit card. And your credit cards. For my surgery, I needed to get compression stockings. I needed to get uh, specialty foods, bariatric foods that I didn't already have. That cost almost $100. I had to get stuff for my cats. I had to get so much stuff. And I have a theory that, hey, whenever people can't get their way and they can't literally get all my finances, now I got to worry about somebody trying to, trip me up when I leave my house, which I had to do because I had to pay my bills, even though I'm supposed to be home resting and healing up. But then again, I'm always going to have people that hate me to death. And sometimes they be just like clockwork. But yeah, people started, switching up on me recently. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to make of it. I be trying to pay attention to the signs from the universe. I try to stay out of trouble. I've been doing my Bible studies. You know what I'm saying? Even though I would have appreciated it if this social media influencer would have inboxed me and said, with all due respect, I'm not comfortable with the fact that you screenshot images of me and or my family, or I'm no longer comfortable. We're no longer comfortable with the fact that we'll post something on IG and you might leave 2 heart emojis, or you might put LOL. It just came out of nowhere the other day. He just did that, and what he did was very dangerous, very, very dangerous. And then it was also interesting. It's like you don't look like me. You're with a woman that looks like me, but you have a lot more privilege than I do. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to catch the brunt of whatever this could be. And even for my family, you're not going to catch the brunt of that. I never intentionally attracted drama to anybody's page. I've learned since a few years ago, if anything negative is going on, not to engage. So much so, if I even think somebody might say something funny, that's kind of like derogatory or some type of inside